ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् असतो मा सद्गमाय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, the way of the sovereign wisdom and sovereign mystery. Verse number 23, Lord Krishna is telling that everyone has an access to the Divine Lord. What is needed is sincerity and faith. If you have these two, then you are sure to reach him. So verse number 23 says, Epyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajante vidipurvakam. Even those devotees who, endowed with true faith, worship other gods, worship me only, O Arjun, by using methods not prescribed in the scripture. So here Lord Krishna is clarifying the confusion in the minds of people about which god or goddess he or she should worship. Here Lord Krishna says, if you have faith and worship God in any form you want to, perfectly alright, even though you may not know scriptures, you may not know rituals, actually you may not know any method, but if you have strong faith and devotion and dedication and sincere, you are sure to reach the God whom you are worshipping, and reaching him you are reaching me only. That is, Lord Krishna is telling all forms of gods and goddesses are his own. What more clarification we want? Still we fight. That is because of the utter ignorance, utter foolish ignorance, utter foolish and stupid ignorance, utter foolish, stupid and idiotic ignorance. So, to what type of ignorance we are positioned, it depends upon each one's temperament. Well, here Lord Krishna has said, when God himself has said, why should you doubt anymore? He is telling, worshipping any form you are worshipping me. And there is no need to go through rituals. He is not telling rituals are bad. He is not telling that point. Simply because I don't know rituals should not be excuse for practicing spirituality. Do you practice properly meditation, japa, morning, without murmuring, without grumbling? Are you sincere about your meditation practices? That determines the factor. So, To illustrate this point, there is a very famous story in well known in South India, and that is the story of Kannappan. I don't know if you know his name. It's very familiar. In fact, I had gone there. That Kannappan temple is Kalihasti. Kalahasti is a place near to Tirupati. People who go to Tirupati to witness Lord Venkateshwara, they do go to Kalahasti to see the Shiva temple. And this story of this Kannappan was remarkable, without parallel, I should say. And he was a hunter. One day he was chasing a boar, and the boar kept on running, and he also began to chase with fast speed. Finally, that boar climbed the hill and then entered into a shed. And this hunter, Kannappan, was astonished. What happened to this boar? Why did he enter into the shed? Who is there in the shed? He went inside and saw Shivalinga temple. Shivalingam was there. And all his past samskaras, which were accumulated in his mind, they all came to the forefront. Immediately he felt fascinated towards that Shivalingam. Then he began to wonder, why nobody is there here? Oh Lord, are you alone? He is conversing. He's a hunter, he has no education. He has not studied any rituals regarding how to worship Lord Shiva, etc. He knew nothing. So then he thought, well, nothing to worry. I am here now. I will take care. I will be with you all the time. He began to talk to himself and talk to God, as if God is listening to him. And he is so sincere, and he felt that God is listening to his talks. Then he felt, well, I don't think we have eaten for a long time. Probably you are hungry. So he got down the hill and hunted an animal, pig, and he cooked it properly, and then he went. Then he thought, should you not give bathing to the Lord? Should you not bathe the Lord? How to bathe him? Again the thought came to him. Then he ran searching the water. There he found a stream of water. What he did was, he didn't have any vessel or anything. He rinsed his mouth with that water, and then after cleaning his mouth with the water, he filled up his mouth with that water, and with the mouth full of water, and with the pork in his hand, he went to see Shiva. Then he wants to, oh God, he wants to utter, but he can't do because he has got water in the mouth. Anyway, he went near Lord Shiva and he poured out water from his mouth and cleansed the Shivlingam. Can you imagine? He never imagined sacrilege, etc. Then he offered that. So, then he was felt great satisfaction. Lord Shiva is now fed properly. I have given him a bath also, etc. Then he went back. What happened was, nearby village, there was a priest who would come to the Shivlingam and offer worship every day. As usual, he came from the village and he was shocked to see the pork near Shiva. He felt so much disgusted. Then he began to clean everything and he performed elaborate rituals to purify. So, all these things he did. Then he said, "Oh Lord," that priest said, "please excuse me, forgive me. This thing has happened. I shall see it will not happen again." Like that he says and goes away. Next day, morning, again same thing is happening. With mouthful of water and a pork on the banana leaf, coming with great devotion, offering to the Lord Shiva. And he went. So, the priest, when he saw, he was disgusted. He was in desperation. "Oh Lord, what is this happening? Why is it like that?" He was so desperate. He was a great devotee, no doubt. That day what happened? That night, that priest got a dream. In the dream, Lord Shiva told, "Look, you are a great devotee, but there is still greater than you. Now, in order to know the greatness of the devotion of the person, you hide in a place and watch tomorrow what would happen. Then you will understand how that particular person is greater than you with respect to devotion." Lord Shiva himself telling like that. Of course, in the dream. So, accordingly, he came and he hid in a place watching the situation. Then, as usual, the hunter came. He was also very much upset because he saw there were only flowers there. The priest had offered flowers, but only flowers are there. Where is offering? Like that he began to talk to himself. Then, as usual, he poured his water out of his mouth, which had brought from the riverside, cleansed Shiva and offered the pork. And he was joyful. When he was joyfully watching Shivlinga, all the Shivlingas, they put two eyes, they fix it. One can see that. One of the eyes was bleeding. He was astonished. How this? One of the eyes bleeding. He went near and saw it is bleeding, actually bleeding. So what to do? Let me apply some herbal. So he went down the hill. He knew some herbal medicines. So he got some particular herbs, made a paste of it, etc., and came. Applied that paste and I used the Shivlingam, but it didn't stop. The bleeding continued. Then he said, "Oh, now I understand. Eye for an eye. This herbal will not do anything." Then he began to pluck out his own eye. He took an arrow and to the corner he took it out. He just pushed it and took that eye and fixed it on the eye of Shiva Lingam, which was bleeding. Instantly the bleeding stopped. He danced in great joy, danced. And he was about to leave the place. But suddenly he saw the other eye is bleeding. Second one. Now he is in a perplexed position. What to do now? Second is also bleeding. So he thought for a while, then he thought, well, let me give this eye also to him, Lord Shiva. But how to fix it? When I remove the eye, I become blind. How to see? So what he did was he put his leg on the eye, second eye which was bleeding. He put his toe, just to point out, so that he can pluck out and put the eye there. He just did that. Immediately bleeding stopped, and she was highly pleased. Highly pleased to such an extent, he got the full manifestation of Lord Shiva in human form. He blessed that hunter. A great Shaivite saint, yes. And that priest who was observing, he was totally surprised. Well, it is true. Really a great devotee, undoubtedly. Like that, he observes. Now the point is, he did not know any scripture. He did not know any rituals. In a crude way, he expressed his love, devotion and dedication to Shiva. That's all what he did. The result was, he got the vision of Shiva and he was liberated. So that is the point. What Krishna has said, those who worship with not prescribed methods also reach me. And that is true. And worshipping Shiva is worshipping Krishna himself. They are all worshipping the same Divine Lord. As I said, the Divine Lord takes forms to suit the temperament of the devotees. Just like there are so many flowers in the garden, you select a flower which you want and offer it to God. That's all. All flowers are to be offered, are quite fit for worshipping. But you choose according to your liking. Like that. Aham hi sarvajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tattvena taschavanti te. Verse number 24. Lord Krishna says, I alone am the enjoyer and also the Lord of all sacrifices. But people don't know me in reality, and hence they fall, return to this mortal world. Unless you realize the Divine Supreme, you are bound to come back on this earth to undergo experiences in life. So one has to awaken oneself at the correct time. And he is telling that he is the enjoyer. He is the Lord of all the yajnas. So it is said, the same food when fed by the nurse has one effect on the body and mind of the baby, and quite another effect when fed by the mother. There is no substitute in the world for mother's love, and this makes a world of difference in the build of the baby. The love of Supreme Lord is the love of the mother and much more too. The minor gods give their votaries things impermanent and entangle them more in the wheel of birth and death. Hence they fall. The effect of the worship of Supreme Lord is different. While granting the devotees the things of the world they pray for, he inculcates in them increased bhakti and jnana which prepare them for mukti. This power is exclusively with the Supreme Lord. He is therefore the enjoyer and the Lord of all yajnas. He is incumbent on the sadhaka to understand this truth and devote himself exclusively to the worship of the Supreme Lord. The Lord's statement, I alone I am the Adhyajna here in this body, in chapter 8, stanza 4, request to be noted. The relative destinies of the varying votaries are as follows. See, people offer worship different gods with different purposes, but if they worship properly, their purposes will be fulfilled, their desires will be fulfilled. Yanti devavrata devan pitrin yanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajanopimam. Those who worship the gods go to the gods. Those who worship the Pitris go to the Pitris, that is males. Those who worship the beings lower than the Devas but higher than human beings go those beings, and those who worship me, that is Shri Krishna referring to himself, Supreme Lord, they come to me. Choice is yours. But with what intention, with what attitude, with what purpose you are offering your worship, that determines the course of your life. Here it is mentioned Devavrata. Devavrata means those who perform yajna, charities, worshipping Indra, Agni and other gods, they are called Devavratas. They go to their places, place of those gods, and enjoy pleasures till the merits are exhausted. Then they are born again on this earth to continue life. So life's journey would be completed only when you attain Atyantika Mukti. That's called final liberation, moksha, which should be acquired only through the realization of the Divine Supreme. Pitravrataha, that is those who perform ceremonies, feed the people for their ancestors, they are called Pitravratas. Bhutejya, that is those who worship spirits, they get some occult powers and get into serious bondage in life. So, as Lord Krishna has said many times in the Gita, in this karma bhumi, everything runs after cause and effect. Once you are in this earth, you are bound by cause and effect. That's the point. Let him be anybody. You are there under the law. So, next verse is Patram Pushpam. There is another point is it. Madhyajana. One is Devavrata, second is Pitravrata, third is Bhutejya, then last Madhyajanam. Madhyajana means, Mat means me, worshippers of the Supreme Lord. So like that, the classifications are made. Patram pushpam palantoyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti prahutamasnami pretatmanaha. Metaphysical understanding and material abundance are of no avail to gain access to the Lord. It is pure devotion to which the Lord submits himself. He who has bhakti gains Bhagavan easily. A leaf and such like things are mere tokens of love. The gruel offered by Vidura was accepted with pleasure by Lord Krishna. The flattened dry rice hesitatingly brought by Sudama was pulled out from him and partaken of with relish by Krishna. The dried fruits offered by Shabari were graciously accepted and eaten by Sri Ramchandra. Lord Shiva accepted the tongue-tainted venison and mouthful of water offered by the hunter Kannappa. That is, all these instances show bhakti is all in all to the Lord. If you are devotion, God is with you and God protects you in every manner. It is the heart that is most important. Behind the offering, God looks into your heart. With what motive you are offering the food. People donated hundreds of thousands of rupees to Mahatma Gandhiji for his project. Mahatma Gandhi was very popular and a great person, undoubtedly. But one day, when his train stopped at a station and many thousands of people flocked to see him, an old lady there, she was trying to elbow her way through the crowd to come close to Gandhi. Old lady. Gandhiji noticed her, noticed the struggle the old lady was making to come through the crowd to see him. So Gandhiji himself tells the people, please make way, let the mother come close to me. She came closer. That old lady addressed Gandhiji as Babaji. It's an affectionate term. Babaji, please wait a little. All the people are watching. What is this old lady? What wants to do? She opened her upper cloth and there was a bundle tied in a knot. She untied the knot. There was another knot. Knot after knot she untied. So many knots. Finally, there was a little bundle knotted. At last she untied it. What was there inside that bundle? There were a few copper pennies. Few. She said, "Oh Babaji, I brought it for you. Please accept this." That old lady. Tears streamed from his eyes, Gandhiji's eyes. He came down. He could not control his emotion and embraced that lady. Then Gandhiji makes a statement. With this I can perform miracles. Thank you, Mother. So, it may be few pennies, but the heart behind that, what love, perfect and sincere love, that makes a difference. So, God accepts that. God accepts that. But there is another story. A man who is capable of giving $1,000, if it tells, "Oh Swamiji, oh Lord, you have told Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, just take this $1. I am giving you great devotion." God laughs at that. This fellow has got $1,000 and he is giving only $1 and excusing himself with so many reasons. People behave that way. Because the worldliness is so strong. They philosophize everything. When it comes to God, they calculate. When it comes to personal, no calculation. Go ahead. When it comes to God, control, control. Don't lose emotion. Don't be emotional. Philosophy. It's a fact. People are behaving. I am seeing thousands of people. Even in America I am seeing that. Really, it's a great thing for me to wonder and observe these people. There were plenty. But when it comes to a point of offering to Lord, they calculate. Like that. Calculation comes. Anyway, it's not easy, but it is not difficult. That's my statement, always. Not easy, not difficult. That's the way. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat, yat tavasyada kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Verse number 27. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give away, whatever austerity you practice, Arjun, do it as an offering to me. Do it as an offering to me. So, the Lord suggests here the panacea for all the evils of earthly life. To change the secular into the sacred is the only way to metamorphose the human into the divine. Self-seeking ought to give place to self-denial. Making gift is often for self-advertisement. Practicing austerity with self-interest may bring in spiritual vanity. But when all these good deeds are done for the glory of the Lord, the doer emerges as the divine. The turning point in life comes in dedicating man's everything to God, instead of petitioning to Him for things here and hereafter. Here Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, O Mother, I am an instrument. You are its manipulator. I am the house. You are the resident. I am the chariot, and you the charioteer. I move as you make me move. I speak as you direct. My doings are all your doings. Not I, but thou. Famous song. So, with this attitude, if you perform your daily activities, you will be wonderful. But a person who has that devotion, love and dedication to God, he will never do wrong things. He will never commit mistakes. He will never commit any unethical things. So that is very important. So Swamiji has said, Shri Krishna has said, whatever you do, offer it to me. So go and steal. Offer it to God. So, God's way is different. God says, whatever you give to me, I give you back 1,000-fold. So, if you remember that statement, if you give bad things to Him, then it will be returned to you in 1,000 ways. So let us try to develop real devotion. Keep away all calculations and worldly ways of talking. Always know the fact God is ever watching our every action. So it is sincerity that counts. If you are sincere and devoted, you are sure to reach God. How that hunter got, it is said that hunter Kannappan, his previous incarnation, he was Arjun. It is said. Arjun had gone to forest to do tapas to get Pashpatastra, and Shiva comes in the form of hunter there. The story goes like that. Let us stop here. We shall continue next Tuesday. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish Dharma and punish the wicked. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.